Stop.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Highly Taken Podcast. We're not in car. Oh, wait, no. Christian's in the car this time. I'm David, back to you again from Tallahassee, Florida.
I'm back at you. I'm in Elkton, Maryland right now.
Yeah, that's Christian, for you guys that don't know. Nick, back at you. I'm in home right now in Jacksonville. Hey, let's get it, guys.
We had games played this past weekend, but we had not counted these games, so to be determined. We'll let you go on those later. But this season is officially over, the regular season, and nothing's better than to go back and look at what we thought was going to happen in the year. So, without further ado, I'm going to list our playoff predictions. Coming in, so let me get this straight. I did a little score here. I said you get 3 points if you get the correct seed, 2 points if you got the correct division winner, and then you get 1 point for each person you got correct inside the playoffs. So coming in last place, we have Christian with 16 total points.
Yikes. Miami's
him. What did you win? Actually, truthfully, Miami was the difference between him being in first and last place. That's how close it was.
Oh, that sucks.
But he at number one in the AFC, he had the Chiefs at 14-3. Then he had the Bengals at second, 13-4. Then he had the Jags at 12-5. Then he had the Dolphins at 12-5. Then you had the Jets at 11-6, the Bills at 11-6, and the Chargers at 11-6. And you'll notice two names floating around in all of ours. Let's use names off. NFC, Eagles at 1, Niners at 2, Detroit 11-6 at 3. That's the seeding one you got right. 10-7 Saints at 4, the 12-5 Cowboys in the 5th seed, the Seahawks at 10-7, the 6th seed, and then the Vikings at 10-7 in the 7th seed. And coming in third place.
I got second.
Third place. Because we had a guest.
He came in last.
Yeah, but we had a guest during that episode that tied for first place. And third place is going to be Nick. He had a total of 17 points, was really close. He guessed the number 1 being the Bengals, 2 being the Chiefs, 3 being the Bills, so he got the seed right there. 4 Jags, 5 Jets, 6 Ravens, 7 Chargers. In the NFC, this is where things get wonky for Nick. Number 1 is the Eagles, 2 is the Niners. Wait, no, I'm getting that wrong. I'm reading mine. I apologize.
Yeah, it wasn't the Niners. I had that 1.
No, you had the Eagles at
2.
You had the Eagles at 1. You had the Rams at 2. Then you had the Bears at 3. Then the Saints at 4. Cowboys at 5. 6 being the Seahawks, and then Lions at 7. So you missed every single division winner, and that's what really screwed you over when it came to this. Tied for first, I'm going to say mine first. Now we had the Chiefs. No, so the Bengals at 1, Chiefs at 2, Bills at 3. 4 being the Jags, 5 being the Jets, 6 being the Ravens, 7 being the Chargers. Again, you'll see the Jets and the Chargers show up on all of ours to no avail. 1 being the Eagles. We know how that went. 2 being the Niners, 3 the Lions. My biggest whiff, 4 being the Panthers, 5 being Dallas, 6 being Seattle, and then 7 being the Saints. And then, who tied for first with me? If you remember, we had Stan the Man on that episode. And the Chiefs at first, Bengals at 2, 3 being the Bills, 4 being the Jags. He had the Ravens at 5, Jets at 6, then the Chargers at 7. He then had the Eagles at 1, 2 being the Niners, 3 being the Lions, 4 being the Panthers, then Cowboys, Seahawks, and then the Bears. Now, interestingly enough, all of us, every single one of us got 7 of 14 playoff teams correct. Now, is that bad? Is that good? Who knows? It was a very injury-ridden.
I'll take 50.
It was a very injury-ridden year, so that hurts a bit. Biggest whiffs, Christian's biggest whiff was Ravens not making the playoffs. That is probably the biggest whiff on here that he had. A team who was the number 1 team in the NFL this year, missing the playoffs. Everybody had the Jets and Chargers. And you know what? I want to give you still credit for that buff for the Dolphins. I mean, you were really the Dolphins blowing a 3-game lead with 5 games left from being correct on that take.
This close, man.
My biggest whiffs, the Panthers winning their division. And then we can't forget me saying that the Eagles are going 16-1 this season. I think at one point I was like, you know what? I think we got it. I think we got 16. No, we got hit hard there. Nick's biggest whiffs, he has Dolphins not making the playoffs. He had the Bears winning the division. And the biggest one, obviously, Niners not making the playoffs at all, while the Rams and Seahawks both make it. That was a
Yeah.
wild. I believe he had them at like 5-12. I really think I
No,
forgot.
no, 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 no. I had them the same record as Seattle because I remember it, but Seattle
As a
had a better
tiebreaker.
divisional record. That's what I had it
And
as.
then, Tyler Stanleyman, he didn't have that many big whiffs. I don't really count the Chargers and Jets as whiffs because we all thought it too. Panthers winning the division. He had the same win as I did. And that was probably the biggest whiff. So I guess now looking back at the year, what would you guys say is your biggest disappointments and surprises?
Surprises Browns. Browns 100%. I mean, not only did they make it, but they solidified that 5 seed. And I mean, they could have easily had, a top 4, should have had a top 4 in my opinion. But that's my biggest surprise by far is the Browns making it in there. Maybe the Steelers, disappointments, Jags, 100%. They had it in the bag.
I think for me, the biggest surprise is going to have to be the Texans.
Texans.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, the Browns, we knew they had a good defense, and we, with Deshaun Watson, and we still just didn't think they were going to be that good of a caliber team to make the playoffs. But with a team like the Texans, we thought they were going to be the bottom of the pack. No good here. We thought it was going to take years for Stroud to get up and developing. There was no talent around him coming into the season on pen and paper that anybody thought or knew of. Like, they started from ground zero, and in the first year, they won the division, thanks to a Jags absolute crumble. And, great play at quarterback and great coaching. So I think for me, it's definitely got to be the Texans.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with that. But as far as the Browns, I mean, I think we all kind of said anyone in that division had a shot to make it in the playoffs, and it could very well be all of them. I think they set a record first division that all have a winning record, which is kind of crazy, and it kind of sucks.
1935.
Yeah, can you imagine
early era NFL?
I feel bad, then you have the NFC South, kind of terrible division in my opinion. Nobody wanted to win that division this year again. But I agree. I mean, I don't I don't think there's any question of who the coach of the year is, right? I mean, there's no question about it at this point.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about that later because I do have like the award winners on here as one of our talking points. We're seeing big disappointments. As much as I wanted to say the Eagles, they did end up going 11-6. They had one of the hardest, schedules in the NFL, and we did. And Dallas is a good team. We knew that coming into the year. We all had them at the top wild card spot in the NFC, being that good. I think the biggest one for me too is not only the Jags, but how about the Chargers? The Chargers were a team coming into the year that we thought had a shot at pushing for the division against the Chiefs. They have, Herbert, you have Eckler, you have Allen, you have a defense that has Khalil Mack, who just had 17 sacks, was a top 3 in sacks this year. And
only guy that wanted to play.
Yeah, and you go 5-12. You lose your last game of the season to Blaine Gabbert. Like, I mean, it's absolutely wild to think that this team, who we thought had a chance, even before Herbert was out, they had no shot at making the playoffs. And I think, like, with a team like that, it just has to come to coaching, right? It's not on the players, is it? Because it just seems it was so bad that a team like that would go there. It'll be interesting to see what they do with the new coach coming in, whether that be Harbaugh, whether that be Belichick, whether that be even Bieniemy. Plus, I'll have a top 10 pick, so it'd be interesting to see what they do.
Did anyone else see Christian give us a thumbs up right there? I can't wait for you to go back and realize he just air bubbled thumbs up to us.
I don't know if he does it on purpose or if like his phone has a setting, because he did it like an episode or two ago.
Is it like he does this and it automatically does it? That's nuts. That's nuts. I mean, yeah, it's crazy.
Like if you give a thumbs up, it's not like air bubbles a thumbs up for some reason. Didn't do that.
That was so weird. I don't know. That was really weird that it did that. I don't know, man. I gotta say my biggest disappointment, and I know it's gonna be it's hitting home. I mean, the Eagles played the better teams better than they played the shitty teams this year. I mean, they just looked absolutely horrendous against these teams, and they should have lost against the better teams, in my opinion, too. The way they've looked. I guess biggest takeaway from this is they're hurt. Linebacking, I think Nakobe Dean might be coming back for the playoffs. Slay should be coming back. I mean, Bradbury has been getting torched. He had that one save that caught, Blankenship had an interception, which was awesome. But then Blankenship got hurt. I don't know if you guys saw that right before they took out all the starters. He tweaked looked like his groin. And thank you, MetLife. MetLife, you are an epitome of the worst turf I've ever be played. I mean, AJ Brown got hurt. Right now, everything, it looks like his isn't serious. Could be worse. Jalen Hurts got hurt day by day. Luckily, it was just a dislocation. So, if it was a broken finger, he wouldn't be able to throw that ball. Now, since it's dislocated, he has a chance to play. But our second string looked better against the Giants than our first string did, and that's horrendous. That's horrendous.
Yeah, and you know what? I think I was talking to Christian about this beforehand. Maybe if karma was better on our side, maybe if some people weren't calling for Dallas players to be injured in the last game of the season, we wouldn't have half of our starters get injured at MetLife Stadium. But I mean,
you can say what you want.
I just what you wanted, and you screwed us, bro.
But in all seriousness, it's very interesting. This team that's 11-6. You wonder how they were 10-1 at one point. You look at these last 5 weeks, and you wonder how is this team what went wrong? What in the world happened for us to sit there and beat the Chiefs, beat the Bills, beat these good teams, and then all of a sudden drop off the face of the earth? I mean, I feel like even when we were winning, we said the same thing: it's play calling, it's play calling, it's play calling. It's fumbling the ball when you don't need to fumble the ball. It's the small little things that end up growing bigger and bigger and bigger as the game go on. And again, we've been saying this all season. We haven't played a complete game. And we're in the playoffs. We're in 2024, and you still haven't played a complete game over 17 different games this season. And there's a reason. There's a reason why I'm surprised the Eagles are a favorite against the Buccaneers right now. I mean, truthfully, yes, the Buccaneers team just beat the Panthers by 9, but why, with the way this team's playing? I mean, you go out and you lose to the Cardinals, who are a top 5 pick. You out and go lose to the Giants, who played both DeVito and Tyrod Taylor at one point during the game. This team, I want to say something needs to get figured out, but what can you figure out? We've been trying to do it for 6 weeks and only have a week to figure it out.
I can tell you one thing. You start with Sirianni needs to be calling plays in the playoffs. I'm tired of this OC calling these plays. They're the most. I don't like the play calling is horrendous. It's literally roll out, throw it out of bounds, roll out, throw it out of bounds, roll out, throw it out of bounds. Every single play that I've seen the past 5 weeks is roll out, throw out of bounds, and it's disgusting. He's not staying in the pocket. They have there's no pocket there for him to stay in. And then on top of it, it seems like they're running boring routes, boring plays, something that's just simple routes that they can cover, and they're not doing anything about it. They need to get Dallas Goedert involved. If you don't get Dallas Goedert involved, you're not going to be able to do anything. That guy can help you. Now, don't get me wrong. Yesterday, they didn't have Swift. That's a huge miss. Brown was out pretty much the whole game. Smith didn't play. I mean, that's a huge hit. Don't get me wrong. And they need to rest up because we need them for the playoffs. But at this point, they're going to lose to the Bucs in Tampa because they don't deserve to be in the playoffs at this point. They don't. They look, in my opinion, they looked worse than the year that they played the Bucs against Tom Brady. And they lost miserably that year. So, in my opinion, it's probably going to, at this point, unless they figure something out, you're looking at the same team.
Biggest waste of $340 a ticket.
Yeah, I mean, the offense is just there's no creativity over there on the offensive side of the ball, and that's what's screwing us. I mean, everybody kind of know. I seen something the other day that in a typical game, CeeDee Lamb runs about 16 to 19 different routes. In a typical game, AJ Brown runs 7 to 9. Like there's no creativity on your best offensive weapon. You're not feeding DeAndre Swift the ball enough to get a steady run game going. Like you said, Nick, Hurts is always just feels like rolling out and then throwing out of bounds, rolling out, throwing out of bounds. Like there's no pocket presence. He's not standing in the pocket. He's not trying to deliver throws and take big hits. Like I don't know, man. This offense needs to find something. It needs to get it going. But then on the defensive side of the ball too. Bro, give the side back the defensive play calling at this point, dude, because I haven't seen anything that has said, okay, Patricia deserves it more than the side. Not at all. Not at all. At least when
if anything, worse.
Bro,
at least so bad.
Yeah,
At least when he was giving up points, it was actually against like decent teams. This dude's giving up tons of points against garbage teams.
yeah, yeah. It's been bad, bro. It's been bad on all cylinders. So I don't know how it's gonna go. Are we the Monday night game?
Yeah,
Mm.
8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Let me
So
tell you about how disgusting I feel about having a Monday night football game in the playoffs and how it screws you over going into the next week. Even if you're a Bucks fan, I feel bad for you if you guys win. You have that one last day to rest
Possibly two.
to go to San Fran. Are you traveling across the country and you have one last day to prepare and relax? That's
Friday
just it's
is on
bonehead.
fire.
It's just boneheaded. It's stupid. Thank you, ESPN. Thank you, Disney, because it's all because of you. You got that money that you're giving the NFL to be able to have that Monday night game. Make it a Saturday night game. Don't be stupid.
Yeah.
Don't be stupid. Make it 3 games on Saturday, 3 games on Sunday. Don't be stupid. But, it is what it is, man. I just knew it was going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, something needs to get figured out. I just feel like it's too late in the season for it to get figured out. I mean, Christian used the perfect word for it: lack of creativity. That's so basic, and it's the same thing. Like you have the script from last season, you aren't doing that. Like people say, oh, they can figure that out, but you haven't been doing what you did last season. There were no. I remember so much of that game. RPOs. You hand the ball off to Miles. If not, you have AJ Brown going across the slant. I have seen none of those. We used to run so many tight end screens to Goddard, and it used to work so well. I've seen none of those, other than like the one where like it was a unfortunate interception against the Jets. A lack of creativity, and just let Hurts run the ball. I understand you don't want him to take unnecessary hits, but let him run the ball more. And except on 3rd and 9 as a QB draw. Like design better runs, or else you're just gonna run this team's talents into the ground for no reason. I mean, I've seen a team that was a Super Bowl favorite for a season and a half, all of a sudden become a team who you think took 3 year steps back in 5 weeks. So I don't know. I don't know what to say. I just don't have that much faith for Monday.
No.
Yeah, I don't have that much faith for Monday either. But you know what? To spark interest into this Monday, boys, you know what tonight is?
Tonight?
Hey,
It's the night.
it's a big one, man. It's a big one. College football playoffs, the last year, it's going to be 4 teams. I'm interested to see what's going to happen. Are we going to get a Penix that's going to go out there and throw absolute dimes against this iffy secondary in Michigan? If so, I think Washington could come away with this game, man. I really do.
No, look, man, I'm gonna tell you right now, Michigan is gonna win this game 38-35 in overtime.
I would love
Another overtime win for Michigan. That's interesting.
I would love to get that ESPN Classic rank notification at the end of the game, like on NCAA football. This game, I really don't know, dude. So coming into the game, a number 1 has never beat a number 2 in college football playoff history. That's an interesting statement.
Wait,
However, a 1 has never beaten a 2. 1 has never beaten a 2. But also, only 2 teams have ever come in at 20 plus win streak and have won as a 2 seed. I forget what the stat was. It's some BS stat. Yeah, some ESPN stat. They posted it. But yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm gonna keep doing it, and you're gonna make fun of me for it. I can't trust Washington. I can't trust a team who has won 0 games by 10 plus this season to go in and beat a Michigan team with a great defense and go in and, perform that well against that defense. I just think that the offensive line for Washington isn't going to hold up like the offensive line for Bama did not hold up. I feel like there's going to be, I would say, 8 sacks. I feel like Michigan gets 8 sacks. I mean, truthfully speaking, I don't think it's going to be close. I think we're looking at a 14 points championship game here in Michigan's favor, unfortunately.
Wow. Yeah, no, I think it's going to be a lot closer than that. And I think that's the reason right there. A lot of people are counting out Washington. We've seen, I feel like all year, Washington does fight. They claw their way back into the late quarters of the game. They find their way to win. Granted, I don't think they will find their way to win because I don't think the ball will be in their hands at the last minute. but I think they're gonna stay close the entire game. Yeah, I think the spread opened at 4.5. I think it's only a 3-point game, man. I really do.
I think it's gonna be close. I mean, Washington, like you said, they haven't won a game more than what, 10 points, a big game, but they've won those games.
Any game.
They've been in that situation that they've won those games, and that's not true. They beat a couple of teams more than 10 points. He's talking about any ranked
No, they have
team. Are
not.
you sure?
Nope,
Are you
they are the
positive?
first team to have a 14-game win
Yeah.
streak where they haven't beaten 10
Okay.
by
Well,
more than 10 points.
Okay, but all right, that's fine. So they know 10 points. They've been in the situation, so they know how to be in that battle, whether it be Michigan or not. I
And
think
do you
Michigan's
think
probably going to win this game, but I don't think it's going to be 14 plus points, man. I think it's going to be closer than that.
I'm just
And
saying you weren't
I really do think Washington has a chance to win this game.
Oh.
You can't count Penix out, dude. You
I'm just
can't.
saying you weren't doing this song and dance about 5 or 6 weeks ago before the college football playoff committee left at FSU, but that's fine.
No, okay, and here's what I want to know. Here's what I want to know, because I want to bring this up, because everyone's saying because Bama lost to Michigan, of course, right? And it was a great game. All these FSU fans are saying, "Oh, I told you we could have lost that game too," but it wouldn't have been as close as that game.
We
We wouldn't have been as close as that game. It would have been an absolute slaughter fest. FSU would not have been able to handle it against Michigan. Oh, I do. I know that. Did you see the Georgia game? There's a reason why none of their players wanted to play against Georgia.
You
There's
can't
a
bring up
reason
the
why,
Georgia
because it
game
was
without
gonna be
mentioning they had 20 to 30 starters off the team.
because you want to know why? Because they knew it was going to be a
No, it's
humiliation
because
of
they
a
knew
game,
whether or not they
and
won.
they
It
knew
didn't
that
matter because they've done it 13 times in the season.
Their draft class would have dropped. Their draft value would have dropped because Georgia would have absolutely put a beat down on them, and they knew it was going to happen. That's why they sat all their players and didn't want to play. It was humiliation. That's why. And it would have happened against Michigan too. Just deal with it, dude. It's okay. Ohio State would have put up a better fight, yet they lost to Missouri. So I don't know what you want me to tell you here, man. FSU is garbage.
Every bowl game has lost meaning.
I wouldn't say it's completely. What do you think? What do you think is going to happen when they go to 12 teams next year? Is it going to lose meaning then?
Bro, it's going to be so much different. You're going to see a lot less players opting out, and now you're going to see a lot more meaningful bowl games as well.
You're going to see 12 teams not opt out.
You're going to see 12. You're going to see 12 teams not opt out playing in playoff games, but then it still leaves you with like multiple bowl. Like, you're going to see more schools getting a shot at bowl games that don't get a shot at bowl games now, bro. Like, it's
absolutely. All right, so let's get back on track. Now, I do want to talk about FSU because we called it. We saw that the Beaver himself was going to transfer to FSU, and that's honestly the best. Honestly, in my opinion, it sucks, but that's honestly the best quarterback they could have picked up. That is the exact type of caliber quarterback that they wanted, and they got him. But at the same time, now they went out of the ACC, so who knows what's going to happen?
Dude, that whole thing right now with the ACC is wild. Like FSU's requesting documents to get them out of the ACC. The Florida Attorney General's got involved, and ACC is refusing the documents that they needed to get out of the ACC because this is a $500 million buyout we're talking about. This is $500 million the university will have to pay out unless they're given like a right cause to leave. And they honestly do have a right cause to leave, but it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I really don't know.
Yeah, and they sued him for it.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. Obviously SEC says we don't want this garbage team in our division, our conference. So they might be going to the Big Ten. Maybe they go to the Pac-12. Maybe they finally go to a better division.
Or let's see here. They slide out and become independent like Notre Dame.
I don't think that's
or they go to the fucking Sun Belt Conference.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go to the Sun Belt. Let's go to the Americans.
Honestly,
let's see USA. Let's bring back the old Big East.
I want the WAC.
Big East.
WAC. Dude, that Big East for basketball was stacked back in the day. They had a lot of good teams, and Christian doesn't remember because he was like 8 years old and had a beard.
He doesn't know when the old Big Eight was dissolved.
yeah, exactly. I could see them probably going to Big 12 or Big 10, honestly. I don't know if any other conference is worth their time.
But I like the conversation you guys were having. It was a conversation I wanted to have, I feel like a week or two ago, is about how these bowl games are becoming meaningless. Like, I mean, they're not going to become meaningless, like you said. There are going to be more bowl games next year for the playoffs, but like it just really sucked watching some of these bowls this past week or two. I mean, obviously FSU missing 20 starters, but then you have Ohio State who was without Marvin Harrison and without Marvin Harrison, obviously Kyle McCord's gone now too. And then you have an absolute stinker of a game that was Missouri Ohio State there. Like there was like two touchdowns scored the entire game. The first one coming in like halfway through the third quarter. So
It
I
was a
mean,
fantastic game. What a great game that one was. That was so boring. I couldn't even watch it. I couldn't watch that game. It was so boring.
Did
Punt,
Maryland get a bowl
punt,
game?
punt.
yeah,
Yes,
they
they
beat
did. They
Auburn.
absolutely slapped Auburn.
Oh yeah,
And we
Auburn.
used our backups.
Yeah,
I thought we were gonna lose because we had our backups in, but sure enough, no, they came out and played. And now Talia is trying to get a 6th year and transfer to another team. I just don't get it.
it's
I
funny.
don't
He
get
hasn't
it.
been granted the 6 year, but he has already entered the transfer portal, so I'm not sure how it works.
I'm super confused on it. Talia at this point, man.
Where's he
Yes, you
going?
hold a record. You hold a record for Big Ten. Kudos to that for passing yards. But dude, you're not an NFL quarterback, man. You're just not. You have way too many mistakes. I've witnessed it. You're just not good enough. I'm sorry, but you're not good enough for the NFL.
Neither am I. I'll but I guess we can go in. I wanted to talk about it. Final week of the season happened, which means we can kind of talk about who we think's going to win these awards.
Ugh,
Now, if you want to tell me who you think's going to win the award, who you think should win the award, I'll take both of those answers.
fantastic. I'll start with my MVP. It's gonna go to Lamar. But who I think it should go to is Christian McCaffrey. The team is absolute garbage without McCaffrey in the lineup, and they've proven it. But unfortunately, in today's world, quarterback obviously has to get it. So it's going to be Lamar Jackson. And don't get me wrong, he's had a great year. I mean, you got to give him credit, but it's not McCaffrey good.
Yeah, I'm on the same page with you there. Basically, Lamar's going to get the MVP. Yeah, Christian McCaffrey probably is the guy, the non-quarterback MVP. He'll win Offensive Player of the Year more than likely. Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's just about all you can say. I mean, it's a quarterback award. That's about it. So it's going to go to Lamar.
Yeah,
Stupid.
and I think you guys have nailed it straight on the head. I mean, when you look at the stats though, like Lamar, he threw for only 3,600 yards this year. He only threw 24 touchdowns, but he only had 7 picks. Now, what are you going to say? We can add his ground yards on there, which 821 on the ground, 5 touchdowns on the ground. But I just don't think he played
Well, if
well.
you're going to add on the ground, can you put fumbles in there too?
Yeah, he actually had 6 after starting with 5 fumbles throughout like the first like 4 games. He ended up with 6 for the rest of the season. But it does blow my mind that like we're saying that a person who only threw for 24 touchdowns and 3,600 yards is your MVP this year, right? That's your MVP QB. I don't think it should go to a QB this year because this was not a good QB year. I don't know if the defenses are finally figuring out how to
Man,
play against offenses, but it should go to McCaffrey. He did
if
everything
it's
for
going to
that
go
team.
to a QB and a true QB, in my opinion, it
Be
should go to
back.
CJ Stroud.
Oh,
No, CJ Stroud. Look at what he did with nobody, no weapons, dude. He made Nico Collins. I mean, you can't sit here and say he doesn't deserve to be in the conversation. That's why he obviously is going to
he
be rookie of the year, offensive rookie of the year, without a doubt. But in my opinion, there's no reason for him not to be on the table for MVP if you're going as a quarterback
yeah.
because he's a true quarterback.
Yeah, I think, if you look at Stroud, he missed 2.5 games this year. I think that's going to be the big hurt for him. But he threw for over 4,100 yards this year in his rookie season with that cast around him, which is crazy to think about.
Yep.
But I just don't think any QB played good enough. If you're going to give it to a QB, bite my tongue as an Eagles fan, Dak would be my QB to pick if I were to pick a QB to win the MVP. But it's not going to
Pocket
happen. They're going to
passer.
give it to the
Yeah.
best player on the best team, and best quarterback player on the best team, and they're going to give it to
Should have
Lamar.
been Hurts last year. Just saying.
Yeah, nah, that's It's
But
gonna look, boys.
yeah. Offensive player of the year.
Hey, give me louder, Nick.
Nick already touched on it.
Yep. Yep. Obviously, I mean, it's going to be McCaffrey, but I honestly, you don't want to go rookie. But I mean, I guess they're going to probably give it to, you can throw in a mix of CD Lamb in there too. Don't miss out on that, but it's going to go to McCaffrey if he's not getting MVP.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. It's going to probably go to McCaffrey. I like the pick of CD Lamb. At one point, it looked like it definitely could have been or would have been Tyreek Hill. But I think now it's definitely it should be at least CMC.
Yeah, it's going to be CMC. It just goes down to the person who should have been MVP who wasn't a quarterback. I really wish that Tyreek and AJ didn't get hurt and underutilized respectively this season, because the things they were doing those first like 7 to 8 weeks was ridiculous, and I wish I would have been able to keep up through the rest of the season.
Yeah.
After that, we have Defensive Player of the Year.
That's a tough one. It's either going to go to Myles Garrett or TJ Watt. I personally think it'll go to Myles Garrett.
I mean, it has to go to Myles Garrett. Look what that defense has done this year. I just feel like Myles Garrett has to solidify as my my defensive player of the year. Oh, here we go.
I just don't understand how it goes to Myles Garrett. It should go to TJ Watt. Dude led the league in sacks. He had 19. He had 19 tackles for loss. He had a pick. He had 4 forced fumbles, 3 fumble recoveries, a fumble return touchdown. Now, like you guys are saying, the betting odds is saying Myles Garrett, but he's only 7th in sacks and tied 7th for tackles for loss. And I don't understand how he's right now the betting odds favorite to win Defensive Player of the Year when he just has worse stats than TJ Watt.
This means more to the.
I mean, he means more than the team, but he had the other guy on his team. I forget who the other guy had more tackles for loss than he did. So, I mean,
when you're getting triple teamed every time.
I mean, you don't think TJ Watt's getting triple teamed
Christian
either?
loves being triple teamed. I don't know. I mean, TJ Watt's probably gonna get it, right? They made the playoffs this year, so maybe he does. I'm just going off the sole aspect of how good the Browns have been, and I think they might just give it to them just because of that.
Yeah, I guess next is going to be Offensive Rookie of the Year. I think we pretty much have the same answer for that.
Stroud. I mean, and look. Here's the thing. I heard you guys talk about Puka Nacua. Great season he had as a rookie. 1,400 yards. That's fantastic. But you guys are talking about rookies and who deserved it. I want to throw in an honorable mention of Kyron Williams. Why wasn't he mentioned at all? I mean, he was an absolute stud for the Rams this year, really helped them get where they needed to be. And I mean, I would say if you're going to pick anyone on the Rams, I'd go Williams, not Puka Nacua. But it's going to be Stroud.
Yeah, it's going to be CJ Stroud.
Yeah, I mean, we are talking about.
There's no question.
Yeah, we were talking about it's going to be CJ Stroud. I mean, you saw 4,100 yards in your first season. You still missed 2.5 games. I mean, you play more games. You probably have over 4,500 yards, 23 touchdowns. But the biggest thing, 5 picks. You throw 5 picks in your rookie year. You're supposed to be developing. You only throw 5 picks, which is absolutely crazy. Now, credit where credit's due. Like I said, Nacua, good on him. However, it took you 5 extra games in the original record to beat the most reception yards for a rookie in a single season. Nothing against him. Shout out to Carson Wentz, who sat there and had a game for himself yesterday. 2 passing touchdowns and a rushing touchdown, led the team in rushing yards yesterday. Absolutely insane. Defensive Rookie of the Year.
That one's actually tough. Because if we were talking earlier in the year, I'm going Carter. But he kind of fell off, and I don't blame him. I don't blame him at all for it. I blame the coaching.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be Bland from Dallas. That's who I'm gonna give it to. The rookie they had the most pick sixes all time this year. I think that's a big enough stat for NFL vote getters to say this is gonna be the guy. I feel like there wasn't really one big. You could go Witherspoon, but he missed a little bit of time there towards the end. Gonzalez was on fire, but he ended up going out with a season-ending injury. Carter was playing great, and then that whole production, everything slugged, and the whole Eagles team started slugging. So I feel like Bland's really the only one that's kind of been in there the whole year and doing his thing the entire year.
So I still somehow think it goes to Jalen Carter. Who I think should win it, though, I'm going Will Anderson Jr. from Houston. I think he had an absolutely phenomenal year this year as a pass rusher. I mean, I always say it, like, if you get drafted top 5 as a pass rusher, you're going to be good. And that's the one position that translates the best from college to the NFL, because you're doing one job, and that's get to the quarterback. I think he had a great year. His team, division champions, who would have thought the Houston Texans. But I personally think it should go to Will Anderson Jr. So the last one going to be coach of the year.
I mean, come on, guys. Go ahead, Christian. I'm curious.
Yeah, I'm stuck between two coaches, man.
Yep.
I really and Nick, you're shaking your head like
I was
it's
stuck. I was stuck until I saw someone clinch the division title.
yeah. I I got you. You know the fact that they did it was I get it. What D'Amico Ryans did over there in Houston with C.J. Stroud and that Texas team, and going from the second worst team in the NFL to the division winner in that division. I mean that's great, and that's why I believe he is one of the people in that argument. But I feel like you also cannot discredit Kevin Stefanski in Cleveland because, dude, you have been running with a QB carousel and you're doing it and getting the job done now with Joe freaking Flacco, squeezing out as much juice from you can. Like, it's tough. And in my opinion, it's between those two without a question. It kind of just comes down to what do you think was harder, running the team from the ground up and starting with a rookie QB, or running the team from the ground up and starting with a veteran? Oh, put up a thumbs again.
I don't know why I did it that time.
Because he was like this on his chest. I mean, yeah, you honestly, you can. I gotta go with D'Amico Ryans, and maybe it's because it's I like Stroud, I like D'Amico Ryans, obviously, but guys, I mean, Detroit just got their first NFC North conference win, the title, their first one because they were in this. What was it, the Central? And they had the title then, but Dan Campbell honestly should have one extra win under his belt and doesn't. But I mean, you can't gotta give credit where credit's due there also.
Yeah,
I
mean,
don't know. That was kind of a cakewalk division. Once everybody got hurt, it was kind of like they should have definitely won.
The biggest thing for me is I feel like a lot of time nowadays it doesn't come to like the coach who has the best team much anymore. It's always a coach who did the best with what he was given. And so it makes you wonder, because I had on here D'Amico Ryans, but with you guys talking about Stefanski, what's the difference between D'Amico Ryans and Steichen? One won the division, and so we're not really talking about Steichen the entire time, who took a Colts team with a backup in Minshew the entire season and almost winning their division too. Truthfully, we're one bad play call away from winning division, one drop pass on 4th and 1, probably from winning the division. Both given the same situations, like top 4 bad teams in the NFL going from there to possibly win the division. So, man, I just feel like it's tough. I wanted to go to D'Amico Ryans. I feel like it's going to go to Stefanski, and I feel like the only reason it doesn't go to Campbell is only because everybody expected the Lions to win their division this year anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I come up with an award that I can give a coach this year? Or an all-time award? My all-time most mediocre head coach of all time is going to be Mike Tomlin.
I mean, hey, he wins.
Crazy.
He wins. He has a Super Bowl to back.
Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong.
Ooh, was he on the staff with?
No. He only has one.
Ben started?
No, that was Bill Cowher.
It was Cowher's team.
You can't tell me I'm wrong. He's the most mediocre. He always just gets over 500.
Like the definition of Moneyball, but put it into football.
That's right.
I mean, hey, if you want to, I wonder if you would get like start from when he started coaching and would make a bet, like put $100, start off, and just keep betting the same amount you win each time, saying the Steelers are going to get a winning season, how much money you would have at the end of that.
It's nuts. He honestly takes an okay at best team and somehow has a winning record in a tough division at that.
And honestly, their offense has looked better with Rudolph in the past 2 or 3 weeks
That's nuts.
than it has with Pickett.
That's nuts.
Who's starting?
You got to give it to Rudolph, man. You have to give it to
stay with
Rudolph.
the hot hand. You got to stay with
the
hot
hand.
You
have to, man. He's been playing way too well not to let Rudolph play.
Right, I guess the last one, which is going to be interesting, is going to be the comeback player of the year.
Yo, I'm going Flacco. I'm Flacco at my belt. I don't care if you died and come back to life 3 times. Joe Flacco died and came back to life in his career. That dude deserves it, man. That dude, I mean, unreal what he did in coming back.
I mean, it just blows my mind that this is a conversation. It really does because
It
you sit
shouldn't
there and
be.
you have Joe Flacco who came in a garbage situation, great defense, but you come in and you perform, right? You're throwing about 2.5 touchdowns per game and throwing over 300 yards per game in 5 starts, going 4-1 and leading them to the top wild card spot.
Yep.
And your only competition is a guy who's only played 3 games or 2 games this year, has only started 2 games and has 1 tackle the entire year. That's your competition. I saw a post. I don't want to laugh, but Damar Hamlin did some charity work this past week. He gave out a bunch of toys, and somebody said and commented, "Man, he really saw Joe Flacco cooking and realized he had to do something to get that Comeback Player of the Year award." And as messed up as that is, it just seems interesting that a guy who only starts who started 0 games, only playing like 2 or 3, is getting any kind of whatever. Wow, that's not even a word. Anyway, is getting any kind of recognition for being the possible comeback player. Where was your comeback? You played more like I just don't understand. I really don't.
I mean, Kim Kardashian has more of a comeback player of the year than he does at this point, right?
Ray J carried.
That's true. That's very true. I don't, man, I'm sorry. He didn't play. He like barely played. It's unfortunate you died. It's unfortunate. I'm sorry, but that doesn't mean you deserve it. Joe Flacco deserves it. The dude has been balling out, man.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to go against Flacco. It should be Flacco's award, but everybody's gonna give it to Damar.
Right. I guess there's not much more to talk about, I guess, anymore. I mean, if you want to bring up Teoscar Hernandez, just got
Oh yeah, he went to the Dodgers. That was yeah,
the Dodgers
crazy.
are just completing the Infinity Gauntlet. They're getting the Avengers ready to go. It's absolutely insane.
I hope this blows up in their face so hard. I really do. It's
So
so disgusting on what they're doing.
have Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, Teoscar Hernandez, Shohei Ohtani, the Yamamoto. They also signed who else they signed? They signed a pitcher too.
I've
But then
lost track.
they have Will Smith. You got Muncy
Your dad?
still. Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean it's yeah. Yeah.
It's messed up.
Sickening.
All this to go lose the Diamondbacks in the second round again.
Yeah, well, if they're pitching Prime Kershaw, although he hasn't signed yet.
No, he hasn't signed yet, and I don't think he's going to be playing this entire year. I think
He doesn't need to. Just retire, man.
he can pull like
Yeah.
David Price and just like sit on the bench and do nothing, get a ring.
Chris Sale went somewhere.
Chris Sale went to oh my goodness, it wasn't the Braves, was it? Oh yeah.
It's the Braves.
Yeah.
It was like a buyout, something that he bought him out, and it was like so cheap. It was so cheap, man. What are the Phillies gonna do? What are the
Bauer.
freaking Phillies going to do?
Great.
I
Yeah,
mean,
bro. I've been saying it for so long to sign Bauer. Oh my god, bro.
you need to. You
Right.
need to. I mean, you need another pitcher.
So-
So, hey,
trade for Trout.
certified baller.
Yep, that's where I was gonna say wind down to certified baller.
Baller. I might have a certified baller. I might.
Is he drinking in a solo cup?
Yeah, it's water.
Like, that's the most suspicious water I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's water.
All right, boys. A certified baller. It's gonna be none other. And I don't have a certified baller right this second, actually. So one of y'all want to go ahead?
Yeah, it's gonna be CJ Stroud. I think you go in and you ball out like you did in a must-win game away. You're a rookie and you win the division. You win the division. Now you're in the playoffs. You get the host against the Cleveland Browns. Joe Flacco versus CJ Stroud. It's gonna be an interesting game.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and bounce off that. That was real quick. I'm going to Nico Collins. Way to step up for the rookie. That's played
195. That's ridiculous.
195 and a touchdown off of, what was it, like 7 or 8 receptions? I mean, the guy was just cooking. So way to step up, play the number 1 wide receiver role in the biggest game of the season.
I mean, I was gonna say Stroud. I mean, I could try to come up with another one if you would like.
Like the first two
Tyrod
off the table.
Taylor.
I'm going our boy pro bowler himself, Huntley.
He lost.
Oh,
No, I'm gonna give it to the Steelers in general. Mike Tomlin coming back and ended up getting a playoff bid, even though it really wasn't in your hands. It was in the Jags' hands, and they just blew that up. But I mean, they got in the playoffs somehow, some way, especially having a terrible, terrible mid part of the season, if not the whole season. But they got it done.
and deflated baller Christian.
Oh man,
This is an easy one.
I feel like it's got to go. I feel like it's got to be the Philadelphia Eagles, man. I feel like there's just no question, just them as a whole, to lose the game the way that you lost that game and come out as flat as you came out. I'm gonna go with Philly as a whole. But for a personal one, Miami, bro, what the hell, dude? You guys really let me down.
That game was garbage to watch, by the way. The amount of picks and bad throws are being thrown the entire game is awful.
What was Josh out? All right, so is it Gabe Davis running these bad routes? Because it's only when he's throwing to Gabe Davis that these terrible picks are happening. I don't
Dude,
know if
no,
you noticed that.
he threw a fadeaway jump shot from 40 yards away into double coverage.
I mean, well, I'm talking about the one where he was in the end zone
Oh
and
yeah,
Gabe Davis went this way and he threw the ball that way right to the defender. I don't know what that was at. I don't know.
it's
But
prime
what's
Josh Allen.
yours?
For me, I'm running between two right now. I wanted to say Travis Kelce getting that Swift curse and not getting 1,000 yards receiving this year. But it has to be the Jags. I mean, you were talking about 6 weeks ago. If you would have beat the Bengals, you would have been the sole possessor of first place in the AFC, and you lose 1 out of 5 the rest of the time. And now you miss the entirety of the playoffs. Christian and I talked about last game. Something's got to change, I guess. Something needs to be shifted up. Is Pearson gone? Is Lawrence gone? Something needs to happen because there's really no excuse for that.
Yeah, see, that's where I was heading to, right? I mean, you had it. You solidified that spot early on. And to finish out the season that way is just, I mean, absolutely terrible. Lawrence did not look good pretty much all year. I thought he would be a top 5 this year, especially with the weapons that he had. Now, keep in mind, they did not win a game. Sorry, they won one game without Christian Kirk since
Yeah.
Christian Kirk got
And
hurt.
who was starting that
And
game?
that was against the Panthers. Yeah, and Beathard.
Beathard was
So
starting.
I just don't. It's sickening. I just don't know. I mean, maybe Christian Kirk's just that big of a weapon. They missed him that much, but they just had way too many weapons to miss the playoffs. They need to go back to the drawing board, get some offensive linemen to kind of help out. I don't know what you're going to do with Lawrence. I don't think you get rid of Peterson. I just no way. But Christian, like what you said, you can't go wrong with the Eagles either. I mean, they looked like hot garbage the past few weeks. And it's a divisional game and you lose the way they lost. It's just sickening. It really hurts. But it is what it is. I guess hot takes of the week.
Dallas loses to Green Bay this coming week.
I hate you. I really do hate you. I mean, I hate you so much.
I don't want to touch that take with a 40-foot pole. Just going to be honest with you there. If I have
I hate you.
If I have my hot take right now, again, I'm just going to say what I said earlier. I think Michigan wins by 14 plus tonight, and I think Penix throws 2 picks.
Christian, why did you have to say that? And now Dallas might win that game. Man, I was riding on the fact that their kicker finally missed a kick and looked exactly like their kicker the year before the last game of the season. The second one wasn't blocked.
When he missed the second one, I didn't see the first. I didn't see the second one. I was
Yep, he shanked it to the left. I'm going to say, man, this is a tough one. I got two. I think the Rams are going to beat the Lions this week.
Nope.
And I hate to say it, but I think the Eagles are losing to the Bucks. I really do.
So you're going to put my head on the stick for calling out the Cowboys, but you're going to sit here and tell me that you think the Eagles are going to lose?
That's just the way the cookie crumbles.
Yeah, dude. You got a problem with that?
Yeah, I do. I have a problem with that, and you're
We'll talk to David about it.
Okay. Sorry, let me mute him real quick. Step into the HR office, so we'll have a conversation. No, but
it'll be fun. It's gonna be a fun game tonight too, guys. It's the last 4-team playoff. It'll be fun. I really hope Washington wins, though. I really do. I just don't like Michigan.
Boom! Let's go. Boom!
Keep in mind, we could be getting our first looks at EA Sports college football back, and there's been some speculation that they could be doing the commercial at halftime, or sometime during the game.
I heard that.
Who's the cover?
We don't know yet.
I mean, the last cover that there was RG3.
No, it wasn't. It was Denard.
Oh, it was, wasn't it?
I still had that. It's worth like $50.
It was 13. That was RG3.
Yep, it was 14. That was Denard Robinson.
Yeah, that's right.
But
you know.
Well, I guess that's all we have for today. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your week. We'll get you on Friday. My work is closed tomorrow. Apparently, there's going to be a big storm that blows through here.
Nice.
I wish my work would be closed. Oh, wait, I work remotely, so it doesn't matter.
Well, if yourWi-Fi goes down, just kick the router out. Actually, let's delete that part. I don't want that to be on record, and they use it.
Yeah, there you go. All right, I got to get back to work. As always, enjoy the week. Enjoy the game tonight. Let's go Washington. Get it done. But
I hope so.
They won't. Wish Michigan's gonna win.
All right.
Okay.
Like I had to edit this.
I mean, at that point, you just bleep it. Just bleep it. All right, guys. Enjoy the week. We'll see you later on.
See you, boys.
Like Christian's a funny guy, bringing laughter and joy. He got the jokes unlocked and no one can destroy. Needs the analyst break down the X's and O's. He sees the game differently like nobody knows. Together unite, forming a podcast dream team, making waves in the industry, fulfilling their schemes.